Hello guys, welcome to my channel Lucid Fanfic, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. Third POV, Musutafa General Hospital. We see a woman with green hair and eyes in labor with twins. Come on Mrs. Yagi, push, I can see the first one's head. You can do this, the doctor said. You got this, honey. I know you can do this, Mrs. Yagi's midwife said, a blonde girl with red eyes. Ooh, deep inhale, deep exhale. Time skips 7 hours later. We see Mrs. Yagi holding her newborn children. She is very tired. Mrs. Yagi, what would you like to name them, the doctor asked. For the girl Izumi Yagi, she replied with a slight pant. And for the boy Izuku. Inko, I'm here. I'm sorry I couldn't get here sooner, Mrs. Yagi's husband said, bursting into the room. He is a skeleton-looking man with blonde hair and sunken and blue eyes. It is okay, Tashi, I understand your work is important, Inko replied. Come meet our children. With that, Toshinori went over to his wife and looked at their beautiful children. What did you name them, sweetie, Tashi asked. Izumi and Izuku, she replied. What a peculiar birthmark Izuku has, was all Tashi said before his wife passed out from exhaustion. Time skipped 4 years later. It was now the 4th birthday of the twins, and to this day Izuku had not spoken a single word and has always clung to his mother's left side. Neither his father nor his sister knew why, and they were curious where his maroon eyes came from. Today they were going to the quirk doctor to see what their quirks were. Izumi was excited, whereas Izuku was the same calm self he always was. Izuku POV. As always, I was awoken by my sister's excitable attitude, only today she was even more excited. We walked to our parents' room, her jumping up on father and me going over and gently waking up mother. Then I helped her out of bed and we went to go prepare breakfast, which was a traditional Japanese breakfast that suited our traditional Japanese manner. We ate and then left. In the car, Izumi kept talking about how along with her quirk she wanted to learn Kenjutsu, or the art of the Japanese sword, which I thought could be fun. Finally, we arrived at the hospital. We live a little out of the way. I think it has something to do with father, but I'm not sure yet. I got out of the car and went right to my mother to help her out of the car, and we went to the waiting room. I helped mother sit down and sat next to her. Izumi, we will get you a private Kenjutsu instructor, and Izuku can join you, father said. Really? Thank you, daddy, Izumi said. Won't that be fun, Izuku? Izumi said, undoubtedly trying to get me to speak. When I didn't respond, she waved a hand in front of my eyes, and then I looked at her and she asked again, thinking I can only read lips. I then nodded and went back to the book I was reading as we waited. Yagi family, we are ready for you, the nurse came over and said. With that, we went to the doctor's office room where he drew vital fluid from me and my sister and then went to test it afterwards. He requested to take an x-ray of our feet to check something. Okay, so I have good news and bad news. Which would you like first? The doctor asked. Father spoke up. The bad news, please. Of course. Well, it would seem that young Izuku here is quirkless. If you look at the x-ray here, this is Izuku's foot, and as you can see, his pinky toe has 2 joints, making it unlikely he will ever develop a quirk, the doctor said, and everyone turned to me expecting me to be upset. But upon hearing the news, I went back to my book. Oh, I was expecting him to be upset. Oh well. As for the good news, I can say that your daughter Izumi will develop a quirk, although I am unsure of what she will have as it has yet to manifest at this point. He finished with Izumi being excited. Shortly after that, we went home after helping Mom to sit down. I went to help set up the living room for the arrival of our guests. Our birthday party was set to start around noon, and it was currently 11 a.m. The party went by smoothly, and we then went to bed. I didn't realize it at the time, but everyone seemed sad that I was quirkless, not like I care. Time skipped 3 years. Over the last 3 years, Mother's illness had progressed to the point that she can't walk anymore, and most of the time she is confined to the bed. Today, however, was the day that Izumi was practicing her swordsmanship, so I got Mom into her wheelchair because she wanted to see it. She has progressed relatively well according to her teacher. She was currently practicing her swing. I was paying close attention. Hey Izumi, your goal is to become the #1 hero, right? I said, catching everyone's attention. Then my goal shall be the #2 hero, I finished. Izuku, you just talked. I thought you were deaf. And how do you plan to be a hero? You're quirkless, Izumi said. She looked at me in the tears. Well, I could be a hero using the sword, I replied. This caught her teacher's attention. Okay, I'll humor you. Your dad did say you might want to try this out anyway, he said, coming over to me with a practice blade. He then walked me down to where they were practicing and showed me the basic stance, which I got into. Okay, on my signal, I want you to try and counter my attack. He then turned to my mother and said, don't worry, I will go easy on him. He then turned back to me and said, go. As soon as he said that, I took a deep breath in. I then rushed him and jumped, striking him once on his neck. Then twisting my body around, I struck the other side of his neck. This continued until I had struck a total of 6 pressure points all across his body and he collapsed. Needless to say, this shocked everyone. Immediately after, however, I tossed the practice sword away. I am sorry, but I have to amend my earlier statement, I said calmly. Sister, I cannot be a hero. I cannot strike another human being. It pains me, I said to everyone's surprise. I then went to sit on the porch after a short while Izumi came and sat next to me. How did you do that? I've been training under him for nearly 2 years and have never once landed so much as a hit on him, she asked me. Well, I saw his breath, it was too shallow, and on top of that, I saw the minor muscle movements as he was preparing to strike. I took my chance and struck all the place that seemed to hold a lot of blood activity, I replied. I had also described the intricacies of the muscles and his various organ systems and pressure points. She looked at me confused, like she had no idea what I was talking about. I would rather not continue talking about it, Izumi. If you want Toto something with me, we could play shogi, or maybe fly kite if you want. Izuku POV. After that day, Izumi's teacher tried insisting I join his class, telling father I was a prodigy. To avoid the lessons, I went to parts of the estate that father never goes to. It was here that I found the texts that told of battles between humans and demons. Alongside these texts, I found pictures of these amazing dances. All of them included someone holding a sword. I decided I would investigate these dances further, maybe they could be useful. Eventually, I had to return to the main estate, and when I did, father decided to talk to me about continuing with the sword fighting at least. I told him I would continue the way of the sword if and only if he swore I never had to fight another human again. I see no reason to deny that request, but promise me this. If you are ever alone and under attack, use what you've learned to defend yourself, he said. I thought it over for a bit, and after coming to the conclusion that it was a sensible request, I replied, I will abide by this request, father, and as such I suggest you get a special dummy made for me considering what has happened earlier, I replied. He agreed, but due to the nature of the request it took some time. So in the meantime I practiced against the strongest tree on the estate, a nearly 2,000-year-old wisteria tree that none of us knew how it was so old. One day after training, in which I eventually got bored due to it being stimulating, I wandered into the forest on our estate, stumbling upon a key hanging from a tree, which I brought with me. Further into the forest, I stumbled on what looks like an overgrown village. Looking around, I found a few signs pointing to this place being called the Swordsmith Village. I found a few books on making swords, then ventured even further, finding a doll overgrown with a bush. After looking it over, I found a keyhole, and out of curiosity I tried the key, which fit and turned it. Nothing happened though. With that I left and returned home. It was much further than I initially thought. Third POV. As Izuku left the doll, he failed to notice the slight shudder of its arms. Then crick, crank, crunch, crack as the first of the doll's arms came free. Once the first arm was free, the doll used it to aid in breaking free his other arms. The only ones it could not break free were the bottom 2 arms, which were stuck in a position to grab their blades. Now, with a sufficient amount of its arms free, it tore the brush from its body and then proceeded to break its legs free with great challenge. It used so much force that the porcelain-like coating was chipping on its legs. Only now did it force its eyes open and began making its way to Izuku with slow, cumbersome steps. Izuku POV. When I got home, father was looking for me. Ah, there you are, my son. The special dummy you requested just arrived, he told me. Thank you for telling me. Let's go see it, I said. With that we went to the dummy, which was just finished being set up. Turn it on, Dad, let's try it out, I requested. He activated the dummy and it came at me. I drew my practice blade and paid close attention. The dummy initially went for a side strike, which I blocked easily. Then it went for a right-angled diagonal overhead strike, which I dodged. Father, does it have a more difficult setting, I asked. You want it more difficult? I can't even see it move, father replied. Once he said that, I decided to end this battle. I preformed the same move I used on Izumi's teacher, destroying the robotic dummy in a fraction of a second. It's not challenging enough. Whether the AI is too easy to predict or not, it is not a challenge, I told my father. Izuku, that robot, had the most advanced AI on the planet. I think this is just a testament to you being so gifted, he replied. Maybe. For now, let's go eat. Dinner should be done by now. I said. We went to the dining room and sat down ready to eat. We ate comfortably, having nice conversations through our meal. We made it to dessert. All of us ready for our matcha pudding with red bean paste. Then we heard a loud clunk followed by another and another. Then it stopped and a loud crash was heard as the wall to my immediate right caved in, and we saw a robot that was attacking our house. Then it pointed one of its blades at me and in a cold, very mechanical voice said, You are the one who activated me. So you are the one seeking training with that. I recognized it as the doll from before. You are that doll from before. This could be interesting, I replied, with a slight smirk, and drew my practice blade. This fight will be wood on steel. I was practically foaming at the mouth with anticipation. Show me your breathing style, it said in the same mechanical voice, readying its own fighting stance. With that, we rushed each other. The instant we were near each other, I felt a cut on my arm. That was when I knew I needed to give this fight my all. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my entire family terrified, so I had the disadvantage. I needed to protect them. The doll, despite its age, was amazingly fast, and I could only imagine if its other two arms were free. I counted 2 more hits from it and was being pushed back. With that, I took a slight leap back and began to use everything I had. I used the see-through world and took a deep breath, rushing to the doll at blinding speeds, and with a single strike I disarmed one of its limbs. I then noticed how it compensated, defending its weak arm, the only one lacking a blade. It looked familiar. The dances, I had been studying them. I knew there was more to them than meets the eye, and one in particular stuck out to me. The directions called it the Hinakami Kagura. I took in a deep breath and began the form of the dance set, specifically the 9th. Hinakami Kagura 9th form. Dragon Sun Halo Head Dance. I called out to the seeming surprise of the doll. I rushed at the doll with several continuous attacks, each one getting faster and faster. Slowly, my wooden practice blade began to gather bright red fire. The attack ended with 3 slashes, successfully disarming the other blades. Izuku. Izumi called out, distracting me. How did you do that? She asked. I will explain later, Izumi, I said, turning my attention back to the doll. Horror struck my face as it began to emit cracking sounds. Crick, crick, crunch, crick, crack. One arm free. Then again till it successfully freed its other arm. Ready for round 2, then I said to the doll. It gave a slight nod to my head. I rushed at the doll and disarmed it easier than the other arms. These 2 arms specifically seemed to take the brunt of its aging. Once it was completely disarmed, I made to its back and twisted and removed the key. With the battle won, I passed out, no longer needed at the moment. I lulled it into dreamland, soundly and at peace. Izuku POV. In his dreams shortly after beating the doll, I was in a very tranquil place that felt calming. I couldn't help but relax here. I wandered around for what felt like hours, just being at peace. After a while, I ran into a man, an old man, that both looked and felt very familiar. I walked up to him, and he turned around and looked at me with eyes that felt like they were analyzing me inside and out. Deep down, I knew he would be a true challenge for me to fight. Once he finished analyzing me, I realized he has a mark on his forehead that bore a striking resemblance to my own. He even wore a similar kimono to my own. Finally, he spoke up. "Take care of them," was what he said. Then from behind him, I noticed what I assumed were his family. He then repeated, "Take care of them. Don't drive her away, and find Yuta." "Don't drive who away, and who is Yuta?" I asked. "Don't drive your sister away," he replied. "And you will know her when you see her. Her voice is like music and her eyes like onyx." That last part he whispered to me, and shortly after he just faded into the ground. After he was completely gone, I woke up to Izumi shaking me awake. The estate lawn. I awoke still feeling the peace of that place and was shortly bombarded with questions from everyone. "Izuka, how did you do that thing with the fire?" was Izumi's question. You okay, Izuku?" was Mother's question. "Maybe he has a hidden quirk." Father seemed to be muttering that more so to himself than asking me. "Yes, Mother, I am fine," I replied. As for Izumi's question, what I did was attempt to emulate a dance I saw in a painting in one of the other buildings here. This entire estate has a long and bizarre history. Frankly, I suggest we all get some rest, and Father, I called. "Yes," he responded. "That doll is what I need for a challenge. We should have it restored," I told them. You want me to restore this doll that looks like it is hundreds of years old and attack you out of nowhere just because it provided you with a challenge? He asked. Yes, I do, and secondly, it did not attack me out of nowhere as it said I activated it earlier today, only when I did it seemed to be well non-functional, I replied. You know what, fine, this is also you can defend yourself, fine, I will see what I can do, he said, exasperated. Thank you, father, and I will explain everything else tomorrow to the best of my ability, I told them. After that and that large amount of previous excitement, we all went to bed and relaxed by ourselves till tomorrow. Time skipped to tomorrow, the records building. Earlier today, I told them that it would probably be easier to take them to the records I have come to know so well, which is exactly what I did. Once there, I showed them records detailing what this estate was used for. They had their doubts, not that I blamed them much. I had my doubts up until yesterday when the fighting abilities of the demon slave was proven to be true. You expect us to believe that demons are real? Father asked. That is absurd. No way these are real, he continued, looking through these. Father, regardless of if you believe the stories, what I want you to believe is the abilities these demon slayers could do. Here, read this one, I said, passing him a story that involved the technique I used. He is reading a documentation of Tanjiro's fight against Rui. Okay, the description of this attack does indeed match the attack you used against that doll. Maybe there is some truth to it. Father finally relented. So you mean that these techniques can still be used? Izumi asked, clearly wanting to learn one. I'm not so sure. Well, there's only documents to go on and descriptions of dances that match them somewhat. I only succeeded because I already do something they described in the documents, I replied. What do you already do that is described here? Mother asked. I grabbed a document and pointed to some words written down. She seemed to get it. So you do this total concentration breathing? She reiterated. Based on the description, I have been doing it for as long as I can remember, I explained. I even mentioned it to Izumi, sort of. Oh, you mean the time you beat my teacher senseless? She asked. Well, yes, I alluded to it when I talked about him breathing improperly, I answered. If being preformed correctly, the user will take in the maximum amount of oxygen with and use it to enhance their physical and mental prowess to their utmost limits, I affirmed. For each and every type of breathing, there are likely small changes to the allocation of the enhancements. How many are there? Mother asked. Well, from what I've read, there are 6 total forms, with the pinnacle of the breathing forms being related to the Hinakami Kagura, though it is imperfect in the form I have seen, I replied. The other 5 connect to the elements water, wind, flame, stone, and thunder. Each form has a varying number of techniques, with the one with the least amount recorded here being thunder, with seemingly only 2 forms having survived through the ages, I explained, pulling out a scroll showing them the relationship chart. Ignore the extra forms for now and imagine there being a sun-breathing one there. Okay, well, this is interesting. Father said, very interesting. Well, son, why don't you focus on learning them? Maybe you can even help other people who are quirkless with their dreams. I was already planning on doing that, Father. They are quite beautiful in the form of a dance from what one of the records says, I replied. With that, they left me to do my research by myself, and so I did, beginning with the Hinakami Kagura, looking for anything that resembles it through all of the documents. It took me 2 years to master the forms of what I have come to know as sun-breathing. In those 2 years, I had been bullied a lot at school. It took an additional 3 years to convince my parents, but finally, I got permission to transfer schools to a more caring school. Izumi decided to come as well. Our friends, the Bakugo twins, wanted to come too, but their parents didn't let them. We still meet up from time to time, and Izumi had to promise to watch out for me to get them to calm down. They were the only ones at my old school who actually believed that the training I was doing was worth it, and they asked several times to join me, but I kept telling them that I needed to master it first. When we scouted this school out, I had made a request that I be allowed my practice blade and to wear my special uniform. It was made out of fabric that, according to the records, could withstand low-level demon strikes and slashes. I made sure to wear it to the meeting so that they knew that it looked different. The outfit is a samurai-inspired version of a demon slayer uniform, only it does not have the kanji on my back reading destroy. They were fine with it. Apparently, the principal is a big fan of the era that the outfit is based on. On my first day, I got strange looks, which I expected to get. I mean, I am wearing a different uniform as well as having a wooden katana at my side. Izumi and I were placed into Class A for the year. We were all asked to introduce ourselves. I didn't pay much attention till Kaminari Denki. He had blonde hair with a lightning bolt streak of black. His eyes were that same shocking yellow. He said his quirk was called electrification, It allows him to generate electricity and cover his body in it. While he can also emit this energy over a long distance, he has no control over it, making it shoot out indiscriminately. If he exceeds his watt limit, his brain short-circuits, and he takes around 1 hour to recharge. The second to introduce themselves was Kirishima, a hero. He has black hair and red eyes. His quirk is called hardening. This quirk apparently gives him the ability to harden parts of his body, causing said parts to become jagged and rock-like. There is naturally limits to the damage that said body parts can take. That is his weakness. The third student to introduce themselves was interesting person Ashido Mina. Due to her quirk, her appearance is unique. She has pink hair and pink skin. Her eyes have a black sclera and bright yellow irises. Her quirk is called acid. It allows her to produce corrosive liquid from her body. She is capable of controlling the viscosity and solubility of this liquid. She is very bubbly and interesting, to say the least. The fourth student to introduce himself was a shy boy, Mikumo Akitani. He has black hair and black eyes, with his bangs beginning to cover one of his eyes. He was rather shy about it, but eventually said he was quirkless like myself. The fifth was Aba Manami. She was cute and had raspberry pink hair and high pigtails with soft pink eyes. Her quirk is called love. Evidently, she can increase the power of the person she loves. The stronger the love she feels, the higher the power boost. She, like Mikumo, seemed really shy. The sixth was a very confident boy that reminds me of Kitsuki, Shindoyo. He has dark brown hair that is almost black in color. His eyes are warm brown. His quirk is called vibrate. He can vibrate things, the downside being he can be left immobile by his own attacks. Other than that, he was rather annoying. The last to introduce themselves prior to my sister and I was Juru Kyuka. She was beautiful to me. She had striking onyx eyes and her hair was dark purple in color with an odd reflection in the shape of a heart monitor beat. She had jacks hanging from her earlobes. Her quirk is called earphone jack. When the jacks are plugged into anything, she can channel her heartbeat into the object. This quirk also allows her to hear minuscule sounds through whatever they are plugged into. My sister introduced herself to the class and explained her quirk as being a strong telekinesis and explains her interest in swordsmanship. After her, it is my turn. I am the last to introduce myself. Over the past 2 years, I have let my hair grow out. Now my entire family is aware that my hair's natural color is a dark red. I still have spots of green at the tips of my hair left from a dye. My name is Yagi Izuku, I said in a soft, calming voice. I am quirkless, and like my sister, I have a fascination with the ways of the sword. As for why I am wearing a different uniform than the rest of you, it is solely because I made a request. The same goes for the practice blade I carry. It is for self-defense. I finished and went back to my desk. The day went well after that till we went to recess. My initial plan was to find a spot and practice away from others until. You're quirkless, Mikumo. There is no way you can be a hero, I hear Shindo say from across the playground. And you earlobes, what can you do to protect him? He said, insulting Juru. I go over there and intervene. Shindo, what is the problem over here? I ask him. He takes a step back. None of your business, you quirkless nobody, he replied, clearly nervous about my physique. You made it my business when you insulted someone who was protecting the innocent. I told him, deadly calm. So what can you do? You don't have a quirk, you nobody. He said, trying to encourage himself. You do not know anything about me. I told him. I may be quirkless, but I am not defenseless. And if Mikumo wants to be a hero, there is nothing stopping him from achieving that dream, but his own resolve, I say out loud, making everyone hear me. There is a hero in this day and age that for all intents and purposes fights quirkless. I tell everyone. Oh, yeah, who? I hear from behind me. I turn around and look Mikumo in the eyes, the underground hero. Eraserhead, I told him, and everyone here. His quirk is erasure. It allows him to temporarily erase a person's quirk unless it is a mutation type. So against them, his quirk is useless, meaning he fights quirkless, I concluded. You're not pulling my leg right? He asks me. Not everything I have said is true, I said. In fact, if you have the resolve, I can teach you something that will help you on your path to being a hero, Mikumo. Thank you, Yagi. Thank you, he said. It would be my honor, I said. Izuku's POV. I told him to come to the estate this weekend. In fact, I invited him, Juru-san, and the handful of others I saw potential in. Mostly just those two, and Kirishima and Kaminari. They had potential, I could feel it. Finally, the weekend arrived, and they showed up one after another. So Yagi-san, what is it you want to teach us? Kirishima asked me. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, Mikumo responded. I will tell you as soon as my sister has come with our other friends, I said. Who are they, and are they here to learn the same thing we are? Kaminari asked. Juru immediately slapped him and said, Obviously they are if he is waiting for them to show up to tell us what we are here to learn. Idiot. Yo-yo. I brought them, we are ready to learn. Izumi finally showed up. It's about time you got that technique mastered, Izuku-kun, Kitsumi said. Yeah, really is about time, Kitsuki said. So do you guys already know what he is going to teach us? Mikumo asked Kitsuki and Kitsumi. No. Supposedly only he and his family know. He wanted to be well prepared before teaching us, Kitsumi told him. Now that everyone is here, follow me to the dojo, I told them. I am so excited, I haven't witnessed this since he first used it, Izumi commented. So what exactly are we learning? Everyone kept asking, but I stood firm till we made it to the dojo. We finally made it to the dojo, and I unlocked it and told them to go in first. They all stopped at the entrance except for Izumi at the sight of Yoriichi Type 0 fully restored. This image is owned by Kathian over on Tumblr. What is that? Everyone minus Izumi asked. That is my special practice dummy. It is the only thing we have found that can match my prowess with the sword, I explained. I told them of the day I stumbled upon him in outskirts of this estate and activated him. He had come after me to train me, and after I beat him I requested my father to have it restored to its original condition, which I had located in the Demon Slayer records. I will be showing you a demonstration of my technique using him, I said, going behind him and pulling out the activation key and turning him on. Click, click. Are you ready for another round, Izuku? It asked me. Not quite yet, Yoriichi. I am just using you to help in a demonstration. If you don't mind, these are potential new recruits, I told him. Understood, Izuku. I shall aid in this demonstration, he replied. Thank you for the assistance, I said. With that, me and Yoriichi took position at either end of the dojo. If you all want to survive this, you should stand to the side of the room, I heard Izumi tell the others. Total concentration. I began. Sun breathing first form. Dance, I called as I released a single high-powered vertical slash surrounded in a solar flame, which was parried by Yoriichi using all of his swords. He responded with a fast series of strikes using 4 of his blades. 11th form. Fake rainbow, I called this time, releasing high-speed twists and rotations, creating an afterimage of myself to evade the attack. Yoriichi charged at me again, this time I called. 3rd form. Raging Sun, unleashing 2 horizontal slashes of solar flame to defend from his attack. This is it, Yoriichi, my final attack. I shouted to them all. 9th form. Dragon Sun Halo Head Dance, I yelled as I unleashed a continuous, fast and powerful attack that took the form of a Japanese dragon made of solar flame. With this one attack, I disarmed him completely and took my practice blade to his throat. I concede this, Bort, he said, marking my victory. I then wiped my practice blade and sheathed it to my belt. What was that, hell, Izuku? I heard Kitsuki and Kitsumi call. Yeah, what was that, Yagi? I thought you said you didn't have a quirk. Practically all of my new classmates called. I don't have a quirk, I replied. What I just did, in theory, anyone can do. Although maybe not the specific one that I use, I specified. That is referred to as a breathing technique. The one I am capable of is the most powerful, and before I teach any of you anything close to that, you all need to learn how to breathe properly, I said very calmly. What do you mean by that, Izuku? Izumi asked. We all know how to breathe. Izumi, you all breathe very shallow in regard to what total concentration breathing can do for you, I began explaining. The goal of total concentration breathing is to get as much oxygen to your muscle as possible to increase the power of your attacks and to refine the technique best suited to your body, I continued. Now the first thing we need to do is build up your lung strength and capacity. So we are going for a run around the estate's main building. We continue running until you can do it no more. I finished. And how long can you do this with you total concentration breathing? Kitsuki asked. Kitsuki, I was born doing total concentration breathing constant over my entire life. It has honed my muscles and stamina. I can run for as long as I see fit, I explained to him calmly. With that we began. The first one to stop was Kaminari with a total amount of laps of 10. The next to follow was Kirishima at 15 laps. After him it was Izumi at around 22 laps, followed by Kitsumi at 24. Juru was the next at 30 laps, and Kitsuki collapsed at around 38. To my surprise, and as I understand it every once. Mikumo lasted till we had gone 60 laps. I didn't stop until Izumi and everyone else literally asked me to. By the time I did stop, it was around 140 laps, and the sun was halfway through its descent, so around 3 p.m. Okay, we get it. This total concentration breathing is really useful, Kitsuki said. How do you do that? Mikumo explained. He was on the ground, wheezing slightly despite him having stopped around an hour ago. I answered that before we began this exercise. I replied, "Now I am sure you all are tired. I asked my parents to arrange for you all to stay the night, and we shall have a sleepover," I said, giving them a smile. Third POV. Everyone's thoughts minus Izuku. His smile is so bright and warming. With that, they began to head inside and began to prepare a room for their sleepover. Everyone took a bath with some spare clothes were provided, mostly in the forms of pajamas. They had tonkatsu ramen for dinner with some red bean buns for dessert. They then had a small party watching an old movie from before Quirks, The Last Samurai, and then they all went to bed peacefully. Unknown location. We come to a building where there appears to have been a massacre. We see a being crouched over a body, and the sound of flesh being torn from bone can be heard. The being lifts the chunk it has just shorn from the corpse and brings it to its mouth and begins consuming it slowly. Goo, the being said, clearly seeming full. Are you unable to consume anymore? We hear a chilling voice say. Ha! The being said, turning around to see a man. No, master. I merely needed a reprieve. Are you saying I had it wrong? The man said in that same chilling voice. No, I was just trying to explain, the being said, cowering. If you are unable to continue, you do not deserve your number, the man said. Ugh! The being screamed in pain as we see an X form in one of his eyes crossing out the kanji of 6. This is what you get when you can no longer consume, the man said as he turned away from the being as it withered in pain. A light flashes, briefly illuminating his face, where the most noticeable thing about him is a scar on the left side of his forehead. Izuku's POV. After I fell asleep, I once again found myself in that peaceful place, and once again I saw the old man. You need to forge Nikron blades, he said in his dead calm way of speaking. He is on the move. He? Who is he? I asked. You have read about him, the progenitor of demons, the man you were born to kill, was his reply. I know you can't mean Kibutsuji. Musen, he is dead. I said. I read that, and all the documents were very clear on that topic. You are right. It is not Kibutsuji I refer to, he said calmly. It is Kamadu. Tanjiro you must kill. The great demon slayer. The man praised for slaying Kibutsuji, I said. He must have died at least 1,000 years ago. I'm afraid you are wrong, he said, still dead calm. Kibutsuji, on his deathbed, left all of his remaining blood to Tanjiro. In doing so, Tanjiro became the next Demon King. Okay, I get it. I'll see what I can do. It might take me a few attempts, but I'll do my best, I said. Thank you. Now it's time to wake up, he said. After that, I woke up, and I went outside with my practice blade to set up some practice dummies. Afterwards, I went inside and grabbed my violin to wake up my friends. I played this. After they all woke up, I told them it was early. Good morning. How are you all feeling? I asked. So they all said. That is to be expected. Anyway, today's training is slightly ramped up. I began. First, I want all of you to try to run 10 laps more than you did yesterday. You want us to run 10 more laps than we did yesterday? Katsuki asked. Yeah, don't you think that might be a bit much, dude? Kaminari said. Well, if you let me finish after you have done that, I will teach you the basic way to breath so you can begin to learn your breathing style, I explained. Izuku, why don't you teach us that first so we can try it under stress and the correct our breathing after? Izumi asked me. Well, that does sound like a good idea. The way to breath can be exhausting the first time and a while after. I explained, remember, it took me longer to learn to walk compared to you. Wait, you, the great prodigy, took longer to learn to walk. Everyone minus Izumi asked me. Yes, as stated moments ago, this way of breathing, and especially my specific way of doing so, can be taxing till the body is used to it, and considering I have been doing this since birth, put 2 and 2 together, guys, I replied. So we could be left motionless after learning to do this initially? Mikumo asked me. Well, it is possible, but the goal is to find the way to breath that suits your body best, and I already have several ideas on which style will suit you the best, I said. But first we need to get your bodies awake, so time to run, guys. Right, they all said let's do this. With that we all began our laps, and they preformed admirably. Kaminari nearly managed the 10 additional laps, tapping out at 8, making his total 18. Kirishima pushed his limits and ran 15 additional laps, making his total 30. Izumi pushed herself to 18 laps, putting her at 40. Katsumi pushed herself to 16, tying her total with Izumi. Juru put work in and pushed herself to 20 additional laps, making her total at 50 laps, which Kitsuki barely managed to tie. Lastly, Mikumo surprised us once again with an impressive improvement of 40 additional laps, bringing his total to 100. That was when I noticed that he was copying me while he ran to the best of his abilities at least. "Well done, everyone," I said. "Can any of you tell me why Mikumo is the one to improve the most?" I asked everyone who wasn't heaving, so minus Mikumo. "What do you mean he ran the same way he did yesterday, brother?" Izumi asked me. "Yeah, from what I can tell, nothing with him changed. I think he's just good at running," Kirishima replied. "He was running like you were, wasn't he?" Kitsuki asked, to which everyone minus Kitsuki, Mikumo, and myself gasped. "Correct, you are Kitsuki," I said, smiling. Dare I say, the moment I mentioned that, I breathed differently. Mikumo seemed to pay more attention to me and began to mimic how I breathed to the best of his abilities. "Isn't that right, Mikumo?" "Yeah. Although I was born without a quirk, I have always wanted to be a hero, so I've taken up a hobby of researching and analyzing them," he explained kind of sheepishly. "There is no reason to be upset, Mikumo. The best heroes have to be able to think on their feet and adapt as well," I said. "Mikumo, the breathing style that most suits you and your personality is water breathing," I proclaimed. "So what is so special about water breathing?" Mikumo asked me. Water breathing is a style that, as its name suggests, mimics water, specifically the flow, flexibility, and adaptability of the liquid replicated by the user's body, I told him. Unlike sun breathing, however, the user directs more oxygen to the parts of the body that will most improve the form of it they are using. I will show you the forms after I get everyone here working on breathing the right way. "Okay, Izuku, so what is this right way of breathing that you use?" Kitsuki asked, seemingly mad that a quirkless kid and, in all honesty, I just met for picking up on it so fast. "Well, you see, you need to take long, deep breaths with full extent of your lungs," I began. "You will know you are doing that part right when the others or even yourself see your belly move with you breathing," I explained. "Once you can do that, it is a matter of concentrating on where best to use the oxygen to achieve your goal. In this case, you all are trying to run for longer. So long, deep breaths." "Okay, I think I can do that," Izumi said, and Kitsumi and Juru nodded in agreement. From there, I sat all of them down, crossing their legs, and told them to focus on my breathing and to sink their own to it. Let their bodies relax and focus. I walked amongst and would talk to them in a calming manner. When I got to Kitsuki, I noticed he was stressed. I tried talking to him, and when I did, well, he blew his fuse. "Izuku, will you just shut up? I am trying, and every time I feel somewhat close, you start talking," he yelled, attracting everyone's attention. "For that matter, why did I even agree to learn this? You said the main use for this was to kill, right? Then why would we ever use this as heroes?" He continued his rant, now on his feet and ready to attack. "You and Mikumo, there are hopeless, useless Deku who have no chance in the hero corps, so you should just stop trying." He finished with several explosions from his palms. "Well, if you feel that way so deeply, Kitsuki, you can just leave. In fact, Izumi, why don't you take him and Kitsumi back home?" "Kitsumi, if you want, you can return at a later day. But if one of you is going home, well, your parents would probably like you home as well," I said. "Okay, Izuku, come on, guys, let's get you home," Izumi said to Kitsuki and Kitsumi. With that, they left, and I returned to teaching the others what I could. Izumi's POV. We walked back into the city in silence. Once on the edge of town, Kitsuki pulled ahead and ran. "Kitsuki, where are you going?" Kitsumi called out. "Come on, let's go find him," I said. So we began running in the direction he went to downtown. "Is there any place here that he would go when upset?" I asked Kitsumi. "Maybe that TV store we all used to go to see hero fight," she suggested. With that, we ran there, and when we got there, we saw Kitsuki just watching the TV. "Kitsuki, come on, let's just go home, and we can go back and you can apologize after he has calmed down." "Yeah, you know, Izuku, he doesn't hold a grudge like at all," I began before being interrupted by a villain falling next to us. He wore a black suit with a white dress shirt, no tie. We were all stunned, and the villain took advantage. He grabbed Kitsumi and me by the head. When Kitsuki tried to free us, he slapped him away after growing another arm, knocking Kitsuki out. Then I felt an almost piercing feeling, and my body began to feel weaker. After he did whatever he did, he dropped us. Then a hero showed up gearing up for a fight. "Oh, All Might, you ready to end this?" the villain said. "As ready as I'll ever be, All for One," All Might said. "That's when I passed out." Third POV. All Might punched All for One away from the kids, and an epic battle ensued, culminating in the final strikes of each combatant. All for One launched a powerful, devastating blow to All Might's left torso. "Well, that blow will be fatal if you don't get to the hospital soon," he said. In return, All Might unleashed his most powerful attack aimed right at All for One's face. "This is for everything you have ever done to this world, All for One. United States of Smash." Mainly just how it is pronounced. With that, this battle was over, and All Might was knocked out, and next woke up in the hospital being treated by Recovery Girl. "Toshi, we have some bad news. You weren't the only one harmed in that confrontation with All for One," she said. "Who else was harmed?" Toshinori Yagi asked. "Well, the Bakugo siblings were there, with the daughter seeming to have been knocked unconscious, and the boy seems to have broken a few ribs," Recovery Girl began. "The other was your daughter, who is also currently unconscious. Your family is visiting them now." "Take me to her, Chiyo. Take me to my daughter," he said. With that, Chiyo got Toshinori into a wheelchair hooked up to a mobile life supply, and wheeled them to the room that his family is in. Izuku's POV. My father was wheeled into the room, and after Recovery Girl left, I walked to him and asked in a hushed tone, "Does mother know who you are?" "Yes, Izuku, your mother knows I am All Might." "Since when did you know, Izuku?" Father explained. "I've had my suspicions for a while on what your job is and who you are, but I will say this: whatever happened to Izumi and the Bakugo siblings is in part my fault." I said. "Izuku, you can't think that way. This was an accident caused by a villain," Mother tried to say. "No, Mother, it is my fault," I yelled. "If I hadn't gotten in that argument with Kitsuki, then I wouldn't have asked Izumi to walk them home, and none of them would have been anywhere near that fight." "The fault lies in the villain's hands, my boy, not yours," Father said. "And that is the last I will hear of this. Your sister looks like she might be coming to." It was as he said. Izumi was jostling in her sleep. We all got closer to her, and when she woke up, "No, please, don't take it. Don't take my quirk," she yelled out. Izuku's POV. "No, please, don't take it. Don't take my quirk," Izumi screamed as she bolted upright. I wheeled Father over to her bedside. "You need to us the truth, the full truth," I told him. "Right. You are right, my boy," he said. "Dad, what is he talking about?" Izumi asked. "Izumi, my dear, I am All Might," Father said. "And my quirk was not always my own. A long time ago, at the beginning of the Age of Quirks, there lived two brothers," he began. "One had a powerful quirk that allowed him to take and give quirk. He named this power All for One and took it as his name over time. The other brother was seemingly quirkless, but as his brother took and gave quirks in order to gather followers and create an army, he would fight back despite the frail body he was born with. After having captured his brother, All for One forced a quirk onto him that he believed even his frail body could handle, a simple quirk that allowed its user to stockpile energy. Little did he know, however, that his brother in fact had a quirk that was useless by itself, a quirk that allowed him to pass his quirk onto someone else. These two quirks intermingled and merged and created a new quirk, which the younger brother dubbed One for All. Knowing that he still could not even compare to his brother, he entrusted this quirk to future generations, passing it on, and until it got to me, its 8th user, and earlier today, I believe I finally took him down," he finished. "So you're saying that the reason I lost my quirk is because of that man?" Izumi asked. "If I may, I believe that Kitsumi has also lost her quirk in the same way," I said. "I am sorry that you lost your quirk, my sister." "Izuku, it's okay. At least we are even closer now, haha," Izumi said. "I suppose you're right, and hey, at least we know that you can still be a hero, and I am sure that we will see what breathing suits you best," I said, giving him a smile. "I promise to train you well, my sister." "Hey, don't forget Kitsumi, we have to keep her spirits up to her," she said. "Right you are. In fact, if you all will excuse me, I should go talk to her," I said. After that, I walked out of Izumi's room next door to the room that the Bakugus were in and knocked on the door. "Come in," I heard Aunt Mitsuki say. "Thank you, Auntie," I said, and walked to Kitsumi's bed. "You lost your quirk as well, didn't you?" I asked her. "Yeah," Kitsumi said with a very saddened look. "Now I can't be a hero." "And why can't you, Kitsumi?" I asked. "You know, I am already training someone who is quirkless to be a hero, and on top of that I am training my sister who is now quirkless so she can still be a hero. Do you really think I would leave you behind?" This brought her to tears and she jumped up and hugged me tightly. "Thank you. Thank you so much, Izuku," she said, and I began rubbing her back, letting her cry on my shoulder. There, Kitsumi, it will be okay," I said. After a while, Izumi, Kitsumi, and Kitsuki were discharged, and we went home. Father had to spend a little more time in the hospital, so we all went home. Izumi POV. Later that night, I went to sleep early because me and Izuku were going to train early in the morning. Getting to sleep was easy, and quickly I was in the world of dreams. I looked around, and I appeared to be in a field to the side of an old Japanese tower. It was nighttime, and in the sky was a giant crescent moon. Imagine it is a crescent moon. I wandered around for a bit then. "Welcome my reincarnation to your spiritual epic enter," a masculine voice said. "It took quite a long time for me to be able to contact you." I turned around to see a man with a mark on his face similar to my brother's. He wore a purple and black kimono with black bottoms. "Who are you?" I asked him. "I am Tsugi Kuni, Michikatsu, brother of Yoriichi and the sole practitioner of the moon-breathing technique," he replied. "I wish for you to be the next master of moon-breathing." "I will ask my brother about it," I told him. After that, my dream changed, and I was floating in a black void, seeing distorted memories from the day. This chapter is for information on the moon-breathing techniques. Now, for those who know the manga, this breathing form is only seen used by the demon Kokushibo. Something similar occurs with thunder breathing, with several of the forms only seen used by the demon Kaigaku. So on this chapter 1, request for your help in deciding how these forms would be used by a human. Thunder breathing is easier because, well, Kaigaku's blood demon art allows him to add actual lightning to the forms. Anyway, I will now list all of the forms of moon breathing that we know of. There are some missing, so if you have any ideas to fill the spaces, feel free to comment. Moon breathing. First form. Dark Moon, Evening Palace. Kokushibo quickly draws his sword and slashes swiftly in a singular horizontal motion in a crescent shape, creating numerous chaotic crescent blades. Second form. Pearl Flower Moon Gazing. Kokushibo preforms several crescent-shaped slashes that defend him from incoming attacks, sending a barrage of crescent blades. Third form. Loathsome Moon, Chains. Kokushibo swings his sword rapidly in two gigantic crescent slashes, from which a storm of smaller crescents spread, causing massive destruction in a small area. Fourth form. Evening Moon, Reversal. Kokushibo sends several simultaneous attacks that curve behind him from the front in the shapes of crescent moons. The initial crescent slashes would be used to deflect incoming attacks and redirect them behind himself. Fifth form. Moon Spirit Calamitous Eddy. Kokushibo makes multiple curved slashes layered over one another, creating a rising vortex of sword slashes and crescent moon blades. Sixth form. Perpetual Night, Lonely Moon Incessant. Kokushibo releases a wild barrage of crescent-shaped slashes several meters in front of him. Seventh form. Mirror of Misfortune, Moonlit. Kokushibo swings the gigantic version of his sword in a powerful frontal crescent-shaped slashes that creates powerful multi-directional long-range slashes in the ground. Eighth form. Moon Dragon Ringtail. Kokushibo uses the gigantic version of his sword and creates a singular gigantic crescent-shaped slash that slowly decreases in size, creating dozens of crescent moon blades. Ninth form. Waning Moon Swaths. Kokushibo creates a stream of long-range crescent-shaped vertical and horizontal slashes along with numerous crescent moon blades with a gigantic version of his sword. 10th form. Drilling Slashes, Moon Through Bamboo Leaves. Kokushibo creates a long-range triple-layered slash twister full of crescent moon blades with a gigantic version of his sword. 11th form. Eclipse Augmenting Moon. Kokushibo produces a long-ranged vertical slash to cut foes down from a distance, and then swings his sword back and forth at blinding speeds to generate an extending barrage of long-range crescent slashes straight ahead. This attack would mow down multiple targets at once with AA multi-layered from a long range. 12th form. Continuous Moon Phase. Kokushibo generates a barrage of slashes in front of himself seemingly without moving his body. Two opposite-facing crescent slashes coming from a low position. Two wide-range slashes towards the middle. And two long-range slashes that curve in tandem with the other four aiming to sever the opponent's arms. 13th form. Full Moon Avicii. Kokushibo produces several large vertical or horizontal crescent-shaped rotating slashes around himself or his opponent. The slashes boomerang around the practitioner, causing the attack to have a near-indefinite chance of connecting. 14th form, Catastrophe, 10-man crescent moon. Kokushibo uses the gigantic version of his sword and creates a chaotic vortex of powerful, extremely long-ranged, omnidirectional slashes that destroys whatever is caught up within its attack radius. 15th form, Solemn Peeled Distant Moon. Kokushibo slashes several times into the air to generate a series of crescent-shaped slashes that curve upward to point the forks down of the slash down. The motion of his blade would send the barreling at the opponent at nearly any distance in such a way that they would be stabbed and slashed by the prongs. 16th form, Moonbow, Half Moon. Kokushibo creates a barrage of downward crescent slashes from extremely long and wide range, resulting in a powerful six-fold slash crashing down on his opponents. Missing forms created by Breath of the Tree over Onamino, with minor adjustment by myself. Thunder Breathing. Second form, Rice Spirit. Kaigaku releases 5 arch slashes accompanied by lightning in quick succession. Third form, Thunder Swarm. Kaigaku surrounds the enemy with waves of arched lightning and attacks them from all directions. Fourth form, Distant Thunder. Kaigaku generates a ball of electricity that releases waves of strong multi-directional lightning bolts from afar. Fifth form, Heat Lightning. Kaigaku unleashes a long-ranged upward sword slash accompanied by lightning. Sixth form, Rumble and Flash. Kaigaku releases a series of powerful long-ranged lightning attacks that strikes his opponent from afar. As you can see, the forms, despite being around forever, even known by our resident thunder breather Zenitsu, most of these seem used solely with Kaigaku's Blood Demon art. See, the interesting thing about thunder breathing is that all the forms after first form Thunderclap and Flash seemingly requires the first form. Furthermore, much like how Zenitsu is only capable of the first form, Kaigaku is only able to preform the subsequent forms, i.e. 2 through 6. Sound Breathing. So for this one, there are at least 5 forms with only 3 of them known. First form, Roar. The user lifts their twin swords above their head and slams them down with great force while simultaneously creating an explosion with their bombs to deal massive physical damage, causing a loud sound resembling thunder as a result. Second form, Eruptive Gash. The user holds their swords apart before quickly crossing their arms as they unleash a horizontal slash, which they follow up with a second horizontal slash by going back the way that they came almost instantly, all while releasing bombs at the same time to deliver massive physical damage. Third form, Incessant Beat of the Drum. The user continuously slams their sword downwards while simultaneously releasing bombs to throw off the opponent's senses to deliver massive physical damage. Fourth form, Constant Resounding Slashes. The user holds their swords apart and spins them rapidly in conjunction with releasing their bombs, creating massive explosions while defending themselves from attacks. Fifth form, String Performance. The user holds one of their swords with a reverse grip and spins the other using the chain that connects them. They couple this by also releasing numerous bombs to detonate, causing great explosions that deal massive physical damage. Missing forms from Chiroshuga Onamino. Flame Breathing. First form, Unknowing Fire. The user charges towards their opponent at high speeds and aims to decapitate them in one slash. Second form, Rising Scorching Sun. The user releases an arching sword slash upwards. Third form, Blazing Universe. The user swings their blade in a downwards arc. Fourth form, Blooming Flame Undulation. The user swings their blade in a circular motion that can defend them from incoming attacks or decapitate multiple enemies at once. Fifth form, Flame Tiger. The user performs a series of powerful sword slashes that seemingly takes the form of a flaming tiger. Sixth form, Final Ember. The user swings their sword to the right with all of their might, then lowers their blade slightly and with as much speed as possible to muster swings left. Seventh form, Blinding Cinders. The user blinds the opponent with rapid sweeping sword slashes, then delivers a powerful swipe decapitating their opponent. Eighth form, Firestorm. The user rapidly twists their body around while running around the opponent, periodically leaping in and delivering an attack culminating in massive damage for the opponent. So, this was the end of part 1 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.